And now, it's time for another episode of Smoke Break Talk.
So anyway, we were talking also about on our way down to going to music center. We always talk music for some reason. You know, we could talk other shit. We could talk about girls, but we're kind of too old for that. I think we're not little kids. So we always seem to talk music, and we came up with a thing. And I'm going to just start it out, kind of a question and answer kind of thing. So I'm going to throw some questions at you. And whatever comes out of your head, be the first one. And they're simple. It's not hard. Don't overthink it.
I shan't.
Is that a word?
I think it is. It's a contraction of shall not.
It's a contraction of shan't. All right. We do this every time. You come up with, how do you, never mind. You come up with those goddamn fucking words, man.
I've been using them all my life.
How come I never heard them?
know.
I'm 4 years young or 4 days younger than
Because you never listened to me.
I guess. They sound like my goddamn, never mind. Rolling Stones or Beatles?
Rolling Stones.
Why?
They're a little more edgier.
Edgier?
Yeah.
In what way?
More bad boyish, you know. They play at a biker bar, the Beatles, I don't think would.
You know, the Rolling Stones did play at Altamont.
I know, yeah. And they put that on.
Yeah, and they hired the Hells Angels.
Yeah, brilliant move number one.
Yeah, well, the Hells Angels killed some kid or something.
What the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Have you?
But that's crazy.
Do you remember the U.S. Festival?
I always called it the Us Festival. Yes,
yeah.
yes, I do.
I don't.
You don't?
Not really.
It was in the 80s.
Totally. It was during our high school.
I watched
I watched a 3-hour documentary on it on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of good bands.
Fuck, every band was a top act.
Every band was...
Of course, they lost money on that festival, but the whole point of it wasn't to make money.
Right. It was the Us Festival.
Yeah.
Unite and see bands. I mean, it's kind of like...
They blended technology and music.
Yeah,
like
okay,
a
I'll go with
show
that.
too. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right.
Because
it was, yeah. Wozniak from Apple, right?
I think Oingo Boingo was the first band to play.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
On stage, me. I know they played. But
I think I saw that documentary.
The Clash played. The Clash of Van Halen had a fight.
Oh, really?
A media fight, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Joe.
Over what?
That was the last show the Clash played together.
Was it really?
The Us Festival stage. Yep.
No shit.
Yep, because they were 1983. It was the second year, I think.
Okay.
And I forget, they had different nights, like country night, metal night, or rock night.
Right. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're going to go there, all right, I'm not into country all that much or modern country. Yeah. So I'm going to skip that day. I want to go on punk night when the goddamn Clash and the Ramones or I don't know if the Ramones.
Well, Strummer was on his soapbox just like, I saw the footage and you could tell
what was he pissed about?
I don't know. You know how he likes to go on his political rants and shit and stuff. You know?
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I bet you David Lee Roth fucking pissed him off. If I was in that,
no, they played
David Lee Roth
first, I think, and he was getting on people for doing drugs or something.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. And like the next night when Van Halen played, he pulled up a whiskey bottle and said, "The only people that drink iced tea on stage is the Clash." And he took a big thing of his.
Oh, really?
Did
they showed the footage of that?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. I got to watch that.
Yeah.
Did you watch it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I got to check that out.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, because I love the Clash. I love Joe Strummer. But
that was their last show.
You're absolutely right that he would get on his shit.
He had a major issue that night. A couple times Mick Jones just kind of interrupted him and just started the song.
Start playing?
Yeah.
It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, play music.
Up.
You're a goddamn musician.
Yeah.
See, that's my thing. One of the things that I like like when we do these videos and stuff like that, we don't talk about, politics or religion. I know you have your views on politics. I do too. You have your views on religion. I do too. You have your views on sports teams. I do too. But we don't talk about that. We talk about music because that's what we're about. Is music. But yeah, I gotta check that out. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
you'll
cool.
love it. You'll watch the whole damn thing.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Because what you got to do too is put yourself like Lori and I watched it the one morning she came down, and she knew all the bands too. This is like 1982, so the Police were playing, but they hadn't become the Police yet.
They haven't
And
released
U2
like
was
Synchronicity yet.
Yeah, no, they had only had a few radio hits at that point. U2 was there, but they hadn't become U2.
Right.
So you've seen
they're
all these huge 80s bands that weren't huge yet.
Right. Okay.
But boy, most of them ended up being huge.
Right.
Wow.
And that's cool. That's cool. I gotta check that shit out. Man.
Even Van Halen hadn't put out 1984 yet.
Okay.
You know?
Well, they were big with like their first couple records.
Their
with
first album, I think, had
and
some hits, but then their
Yeah.
next 2 or 3 or 4 albums kind of struggled a little bit.
Alright.
They never were reaching the potential
And
of
then
the record company.
then when
and then
84,
1984 hit.
yeah,
Bam.
when you got Jump and Jump's a great fucking song.
Yeah,
I love it.
That whole record is pretty good. Actually.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with you. And I'm not the hugest Van Halen fan,
neither am I,
but they're a good band.
No.
And speaking of Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen passed away not too long ago. What, maybe 5-6 months ago? Maybe not even that
a
long.
few years ago.
He did?
Eddie, yeah.
I
October.
thought he just passed away.
No.
Oh, Jesus
It's been a
Christ.
couple, 3 years at least, because every October they kind of, like every August is Elvis.
All right, well, I better go crawl back under the rock. I've been
Yeah,
under for
no,
the
it's
last
been
2
a couple,
years.
3 years at least.
All right, well, man, R.I.P.
In fact, his
Rest in
son
peace,
is,
Eddie Van Halen.
His son is Wolfgang's tearing it up.
Oh, is he? What's he
Yeah.
doing?
Well,
I know
he's got
he
his
played.
own band.
Does
He
he?
can play every instrument.
Oh, I bet he can.
Yeah.
I know he played bass because they
Yeah,
kicked.
and Van Halen, yeah.
Yeah, they kicked what's his nuts out. Their longtime bass player,
Michael Anthony.
Michael Anthony. Yeah, they kicked him out so Wolfgang could be in a band.
Yeah.
That's like if I was Michael Anthony. Well, I'm sure he's
Van
rich as
Halen
fuck.
Incorporated.
I'd be like, fuck this bullshit. But anyway, so yeah, the Ozfest, I'll have to check that out.
Totally check it out. You'll love it.
Okay.
Yeah, those
Oh,
are
I'm
good-
sure it
good
will, man.
documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first.
And I think it's really cool that Steve
organized festival.
Wozniak did that.
They went out and instead of just plopping the thing in the middle of a field like Woodstock did, they went out and surveyed it and they like leveled it and graded it. And,
All right.
like I guess they
Yeah.
put $10 million just into the property
Really?
to get it ready.
Well,
And they had
Steve
enough
Wozniak probably had a
restrooms.
gazillion dollars.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably dead now, isn't he?
No. Well, I don't
Or is
know.
he?
They were interviewing the old Steve Wozniak while they were showing it.
Yeah.
And he'd be kind of like telling you how they were winging this and winging that. But they kind of learned all the lessons from Woodstock and
So they tried to make it a better festival, music festival, or whatever.
it was the first.
Why does it seem every goddamn Woodstock goes fucking awry, man? It gets
Because that's just how it is.
because they did the Woodstock that Green Day played at, and they were throwing mud and all that.
That was 1994,
Was
I
it?
think.
All right.
Yeah,
Which fuck Woodstock?
The one poster might be that. Because I did kind of go by there.
Did you?
Down the highway. I mean, it's off the highway a bit.
Right.
Right in that general area.
Right.
Fun to stop.
Now, speaking of Woodstock, we're getting way off track, but that's cool. Have you ever seen the album they put out, the Woodstock album? And on the cover of it, it's like from the original Woodstock, and on the cover, it's a guy draped in a blanket holding a girl. You can't see their faces. Well, I just saw a thing. That guy died. The guy that was in the blanket.
Did he ever get paid for being on the
I
cover?
don't know. But I saw a picture of him, like they had a picture of him
That was
like
his
now when he was older.
claim to fame.
And he was the dude. on that record cover. It's kind of
It kind of reminds me of those two kids that were on the back of the Kiss album at Cobo Hall that are holding up that.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to those
banner.
guys?
I don't know, but they got a story.
Oh hell yeah, fuck yeah, man.
And they're probably 10 to 15 years older than us,
Right,
so they should still be alive.
Yeah.
But they're probably
Yeah, what happened to those
80s
kids? You know what I mean? I kind of like that kind of shit. You know, it's like, hey, fuck, what happened?
Hunt them down and find out who that is.
Yeah, you know, what happened? Like, or, you know, sometimes, I'm not going to get way off track, but I just like that kind of thing. Like, hey, whatever happened to Engelbert that played in Bad News Bears? Now we're getting to movies and shit.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So,
Engelbert.
you know what I mean? Like, what the hell did he do? But anyway, back to music. So it started with this Beatles, Rolling Stones. You said Rolling Stones because they're
a little more edgy,
more hardcore, or more
edgy.
Edgy.
They can go country if they wanted.
You think the Beatles can go country?
Well, they probably could. They're good enough. It's just
who do you think's the
they're
better?
a little more.
Who between the Rolling Stones and the Beatles? Who do you think had more musical talent? Taking the members of the band and putting it together, musical talent, and putting it all together, summing it up. Who had more musical talent, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
That's a toughie. You got Jagger Richards versus McCartney.
Lennon McCartney.
Yeah.
Jagger.
Plus, they had more members, so they would have more talent.
That doesn't mean more talent.
Volume-wise, they win.
But the cool thing is the Beatles never ever had a different. It was always John, Paul, George, and Ringo. It's not like, you know, the Rolling Stones. Brian Jones was one of the original founders of the Rolling Stones, and he died in a pool accident or something. He drowned, I think. And then, you know, so they bring in Ron, what's his nuts? Ron Wood, and then I think that's the only guy they brought in, isn't it?
Well, wasn't Wood the bass player?
No, John Entwistle was John Entwistle was the Who. Who was the bass player? Who was the bass player for the fucking Rolling Stones? I don't know. If I heard his name, I'd know. But anyway, who gives a shit?
I don't know.
But for me, I think the Beatles have more musical talent. I think Paul McCartney, just in and of himself, has more talent than the Rolling Stones put together.
Yeah.
Musically.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Paul McCartney is one of the best musicians that I've ever heard, that I've ever, you know, watched play, and just how good he is. And, you know, he didn't want to play bass guitar when the Beatles started.
Well,
he was a guitar player.
Yeah.
And
well, he plays everything pretty much.
Well, yeah, you know, piano, and you know, he's a multiple instrumentalist. But yeah, he didn't want to play guitar, but John played guitar, and Stuart Sutcliffe played guitar, and George Harrison played guitar. So it's like, I guess he drew the short straw. It's like, you're playing bass, dude.
Yeah, because either he was the worst guitar player or the best guitar player.
I think he was probably the best. I bet he was better than John.
That's who usually goes on bass, is either the best one or the worst
right.
one. You know?
And I think Paul McCartney was probably the best one.
Yeah, guitar player, huh?
I think so.
I don't know.
I mean, you know, but you know, it'd be interesting to talk to Paul McCartney and like, what's your favorite instrument? Like, I've seen a lot of interviews with McCartney and stuff, and sometimes I get really mad at the interviewer. It's like, you're not asking the right questions.
Oh, yeah.
You're not asking the questions that I would want to ask. You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe that's selfish on my part.
No.
But
that would make you a good interviewer.
Why you continue to play the bass guitar? And I heard that you didn't like to play the bass guitar. You know, you kind of got forced into doing it. So why do you still play it?
Well, he said when I died in 1967.
Yeah, right.
I haven't really played it since then. It's a body double that you're fucking watching.
Right. Yeah. The Walrus is Paul, man. All right. So, next question. I wrote these down. I can't say I wrote them on
Gambling sheet.
a gambling sheet. And the Malt-Tones do not condone gambling in any way, shape, or form. Do what you want. And I can't read these. So what else I got on there? Oh, Fender or Gibson. When it comes to guitars.
I'm leaning towards Fender.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
God, I totally pictured you as a Fender or a Gibson guy.
Yeah, for years I was more Gibson, but I kind of like the Fender.
All
Actually,
right.
the Gretsch is
Oh.
where I'm
Well,
at.
that's not a choice.
No, but that's more Fender-y. Even though it's a lot modeled after a Gibson, the pickups, I believe, are more Fender-y,
Okay.
which gives them that more of a jangly, chiny, you know.
Okay. I'm more so for you. A Telecaster is more kind of jangly, where a Gibson is more like crunch.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I kind of get that because
Yeah.
Mike Ness
Heavier.
from Social Distortion, he's a Gibson guy, and Gibson Les Pauls are his axe. You know what I mean? That's what he uses, and he gets that certain sound.
Yeah.
Me, I like Fenders.
Yeah.
I got a Fender Telecaster. When it comes to bass guitars, Fender all the way. And then there's different Fender basses. You've got a jazz bass, I believe.
Jaguar.
Oh, it's Jaguar?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's modeled after their jazz guitar, the Jaguar jazz guitar. But
Okay.
that has like a lot of switches and shit in it that I saw. But it's the same body shape.
Yep. And it's
then,
got hand me that fucker
That
for a
little thing
second.
there.
Because the Fender jazz bass, like Chris Troy plays, that's his go-to bass.
Yeah.
And he's a great bass player.
Yeah.
He loves Fender jazzes. The way I know a Fender jazz, and I might be wrong, but you put this up here, and this part right here with the knobs, you got the 4 knobs, and you got this little,
Silver
chrome
cutout
piece.
thing, yeah.
You know what I mean? This little piece in there. But that tells me it's a jazz bass. Plus, it has this cutout here.
Yeah.
Which is like this cutout here, different than that. Now, like a Fender P bass, which I prefer. I love Fender P basses. It has a different body style, and the headstock's basically pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But so you're going towards Fender, huh?
Lately, yeah.
Cool beans. All right. What's the next question? Menthol cigarettes or that's not music related.
I can't do menthol.
We're music related. Well,
Only
that's
if I have to.
it's kind of related to music. If you're a musician,
Those are working
you have
tools.
to. Cigarettes and beer, they are working tools for the musician.